renting out students now?
I've got 3 apartments with students. The landlord pays the heat, the hot water, and the cooking gas for the tenants. All the apartments have hardwood floors. There was a new boiler installed October, November last year, 2014, high efficiency. This used to be an oil building, now it's gas. The oil tanks are above ground in the basement. They have 3/4 of the tank full, so I gotta call somebody to figure out how to solve that. There's 11 apartments. There's 11 car off-street parking altogether. 8 underneath the building, 1 in this handicap spot, and then 2 can go tandem here. Not to say more people don't try and park here behind the building in different spots, but there's enough parking for 1 spot for each.
Are they assigned?
I never assigned it. Knock on wood, I haven't run into any major problems. The tenants who have been here a very long time always are aggravated because somebody's friend comes and parks in a spot, then they don't have one, but it's just one of those issues I've never pushed. If I were going to start the process over, I would probably charge an additional fee for parking and reassign spots to each person depending on what they want to pay, to be honest with you. This is one of 40 buildings that we manage in the Essex area. We have a lot in Maplewood. This is our last building in South Orange right now. A lot of people always want to know why the owner wants to sell. He was an avid real estate investor. He's about 60 at this point. We've sold a lot of buildings in his portfolio over the past 3 years, and he's been 1031 exchanging these into just triple net leases, whether it be a Walgreens, a CVS, things like that that are less management intensive. Even though we manage the properties for him, when there's a capital call, put in a boiler or a roof, but he doesn't really bother with any of those headaches. We still have him with the triple net ones too, so he doesn't escape it entirely. But
are there any rent stabilization or regulations here?
I don't have any Section 8 or CRA in this building. In South Orange, I believe you do have rent control where you can, if you're paying the heat and hot water, I think you can only raise it 3.5% a year or something like that.
So what about if the tenant vacates, you go in and put in new kitchens, bathrooms?
There's no vacancy decontrol is what you're asking. So tenant vacates, you put new kitchens and bathrooms in, you can raise the rent to whatever the market dictates. My personal opinion, rents are through the roof right now. If we were to put in new kitchens, new bathrooms, to the T, like doing it real nice, you could probably get where we're getting $1,700, $1,800 now, easily $2,000, $2,100. Again, that's because you have almost all the utilities included. To separate the utilities, we looked into that, we thought about it. The wall pack units was an idea where because the heating and air conditioning, and then everything would be electric. At the time, the boiler had cracked and we didn't have time to go through each unit in the beginning of last winter to do that, so we quickly put in a high efficiency boiler for like $14,000, and that solved our heating problem for the winter of last year. The roof itself has been silver coated. I think it's about 8 or 9 years old if I'm not mistaken. Knock on wood, even with all this snow and freezing cold weather we've had up here in New Jersey, I haven't had any major issues. Some tenants have been in this building a very, very long time. I've slowly tried to get their rents up over the years. The ones that actually know the rent control, you can only raise them 3.5%. So there's like one lady in here paying $1,100 and a 2-bedroom, but everyone else is right around that $1,500, $1,600 range right now.
Are they year leases?
They're 1-year leases. They all have expirations. We always send regular and certified mail when we're doing the lease renewals. Not to say the tenant doesn't always sign it, but the rent increase always applies and the tenant always pays the rent increase.
So if you let the lease expire, say based on South Orange, I just call right now, if you let the leases expire, then offer renewal, that stand as a volunteer tenant?
You can, so the building in Milburn, which is also in the package I think I sent to you guys, there's no rent control. So that building, for instance, was purchased. 5 of the 8 tenants I went and talked to, and I said, look, you can stay, but we're going to increase your rent. They didn't use the word substantial, but it's going to go up to X amount if you'd like to stay because we have to justify the price of this building. Fortunately, those 5 tenants left without giving me problems. 3 others willing to pay, negotiated, not what I wanted, but we met somewhere in the middle where we were happy and they were happy and it worked out. With a building like this, I think your best bet is to wait until like a tenant leaves, like moves, because you're going to have 1 or 2 a year that's going to move move out. We've always just slapped a coat of paint on it, maybe polished the floors a little bit, moved somebody right back in, and gotten a little bit higher rent. But if they're to leave on their own and you renovate 1 or 2 apartments a year, you know, you're putting in X amount of dollars and you're going to be getting back Y. It works, and you're not hit with that big capital up front. At least that's how I would do it if it were me.
Right.
The one apartment you'll see, the first one we're going to go into, is one with newer kitchen cabinets. But again, it's very basic. They're not Home Depot, but it's, if I was renovating, I'd do it nicer. But I have my limitations as far as what I'm allowed to spend and what the owner wants me to do. So it's a good version. You'll see one that's kind of been redone to our standards right now, and you'll see one where the lady's been there for many years. Well, that one, you'll see one where they've been there for a long time. The 8 2-bedrooms are all the exact same layout, same size, same square footage. 3 1-bedrooms, I'm going to get you in one of those as well. They're all same size. The 3 1-bedrooms are all on this kind of first level here, which aren't basements because they do have egress windows. And the 2 bedrooms, it's 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4 in the back. If that kind of makes sense. 3 floors, no elevator. Good, no elevator. The hallways were painted about 2 years ago. The doors, we painted those, but they didn't come out the right color. You dressed up the hallways by putting like some trim molding and redid the carpeting. That helps as well because your initial first impression. Again, we just did this probably 2 years ago too. These steps. Every little bit helps. So with that, come on in. We'll take a look at the 2 bedrooms.
Is that your information?
Yes.
Why don't you want to go into groups or?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. And then we'll chat about the outside stuff and what he spoke about. Okay? So that was great.
First, why don't you talk to them a little bit? I know a couple of them had questions in regards to the fundraising and sponsorship opportunities. Okay. Spend time talking about that.
Okay. Perfect.
All right, so you mentioned exterior.
Yep.
Now, if you guys were looking at this bill, if anybody has specific questions,
go ahead.
Josh and I were kind of talking about landscaping. What are some other things from the exterior perspective that you guys would do if this was something that you guys would do?
I think you're going to do basic curb appeal, which is easy to do here. Get your grass working, maybe put in very cheap sprinklers so it doesn't die. And you could probably go through and maybe give this some color where the white is. Leave the blue and it is what it is with that brick. But take your white pieces and give it a little bit of color. I'd probably look at the Seton Hall colors and see if I can tie them in. Just knowing that it's right here and try to build a little bit of, momentum off of that.
The Seton Hall colors?
Seton Hall, the university, because it's so close. So I would look at their colors and see if I can pull in accents where these white pieces are.
Blue and white.
Now,
Is it?
Yeah.
In
See,
this,
I don't even
in this
know that.
market, do you guys, in our market, we do a lot of student housing. We're released by the bedroom. Is
Yeah.
that something that you guys think would work in this particular market, being as close to the university?
I mean, it's
Probably
I know Seton Hall is a big commuter school, so I don't know if there's a huge demand for it.
I think you're going to go more for getting students or administrative staff or grad students.
Okay, so
This
that
is
older
probably more of a
demographic.
grad student.
He's not looking for a fully furnished.
Exactly.
room to
Not
rent.
the
Okay.
super sexy
Okay.
student type of deal. I love the fact that it has covered parking.
Yeah.
I
You
would
could try that.
100% be charging
Yeah,
for
that's
that,
value add.
especially in the Northeast.
Snow.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some other value add opportunities that you guys would look for in addition to parking? He didn't mention anything about, I know for us in South Florida, washer and dryer is like a huge thing.
Right, I didn't ask them if they had like a laundry room.
Yeah.
That's a good question, and it doesn't.
We'll probably see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Get in there.
It does.
It includes washer and dryer?
Yeah, it has 2 washers, 1 dryer.
Now, does that...
Is that commuter?
It's
Or
probably
Probably a
point.
community.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
community, which is typical for urban